1.5 million Aboriginal people live in Canada.
About 20% are registered Indians living on reserves who come under the Indian Act.
There are also 60,000 Inuit living primarily in the high Arctic.
And about 150,000 Métis living mostly in the prairie provinces.
But the majority of Aboriginal people in Canada by far, more than 800,000 non-status Indians, status Indians, treaty and non-treaty Indians, and Métis, do not live on Indian Act reserves and do not benefit from the provisions of the Indian Act.
These are the people the Congress of Aboriginal Peoples has worked to serve for more than 30 years.
Founded as the Native Council of Canada in 1971, the Congress is a proud team of constituent member organizations throughout the country that addresses the daily issues and concerns of off-reserve Aboriginal peoples and strives to protect and preserve their constitutional rights.
The problems off-reserve Aboriginal people face every day are every bit as widespread as those faced by their Aboriginal relatives and friends living on reserves. Poor health, lack of proper education, unemployment, inadequate housing. The list is long.
These problems do not respect the boundaries of Indian Act reserves. Sometimes they're even more prevalent in the cities, towns, villages, and out on the land, where most Aboriginal people live.
The Congress believes that Aboriginal rights apply to all Aboriginal peoples, regardless of Indian Act status or where they live.
The Congress also believes that improving the lives and respecting the rights of Aboriginal peoples can be achieved within a framework of cooperation and partnership with all stakeholders in Canadian society.
That's why CAP has worked tirelessly and in a cooperative spirit with government, the private sector, and other national Aboriginal organizations to improve conditions for Aboriginal people all across this nation.
Reinstating Indian status for many Aboriginal people, working successfully to ensure Indian, Inuit, and Métis became recognized as Aboriginal people in the Canadian Constitution, and seeing that their rights are protected and preserved, providing housing for thousands of Aboriginal people, providing jobs, seeking equal voting rights for off-reserve registered Indian people, and ensuring them a voice in the affairs of their communities, working to improve the health of Aboriginal Canadians.
These are among the advances that remain as some of the most important accomplishments of the Congress and its constituent member associations in the provinces and territories.
CAP continues to believe in and fight for the fundamental rights of Aboriginal people, the right to decent shelter, proper health care, the right to good education and lasting employment, the right to participate equally and fully in Canadian society, the right to greater control of their own lives and their communities.
Its comprehensive initiatives over the years have addressed these rights and helped to improve the conditions of all Aboriginal peoples in Canada.
CAP has been involved in programs to make fundamental changes to the criminal justice system as it affects Aboriginal people. It is currently working with Correctional Services Canada in a 5-year plan to address issues specific to Aboriginal offenders.
Governance has been a hot issue in Aboriginal politics, and CAP has been taking a proactive partnership approach, bringing Aboriginal communities in touch with legislative changes that affect their lives. We have worked with ministers and government departments in a consultative and advisory capacity to push this agenda forward. It is currently lobbying the government to replace the archaic Indian Act with a more inclusive Aboriginal Peoples Act.
The Congress has been an active supporter of Aboriginal veterans and the fight for their rights and compensation. Issues concerning youth continue to be an important focus for CAP. Its strong youth membership participates in national conferences that encourage and support decision-making by youth for youth. The Mentor Program partners successful Aboriginal role models with young kids. Youth employment and program information is widely distributed by CAP. Along with the federal government, CAP is working on initiatives to involve communities in the youth justice system.
CAP is proud of the accomplishments and contributions of Aboriginal people throughout Canada. By profiling successful Aboriginal people in programs, CAP has attempted to eradicate racism and misconceptions about Canada's Native population.
It established the Aboriginal Order of Canada, a forerunner to the National Aboriginal Achievement Awards. It recently participated in international conferences at the United Nations and in South Africa. In 2002, CAP took the lead role producing National Aboriginal Day, celebrating and profiling Aboriginal peoples to all Canadians.
The Congress of Aboriginal Peoples has been in business for about 30 years now, formerly called the Native Council of Canada. And discrimination is the fundamental problem that we've been dealing with for those 30 years. It stems primarily from the Indian Act legislation. What I'd like to see for the off-reserve Aboriginal people in this country is the same equality and access to programs and services that our brothers and sisters on reserve receive. And unfortunately, that is not the situation today. The current situation in Canada is that the off-reserve Aboriginal population is the fastest growing population in the country. And as long as I'm in the position to be able to make a difference, that's going to be my focus.